Senator Young. Senator Merkley.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you so much for your work, Secretary Campbell. Two pieces I wanted to address. First is Chinese strategy of transnational repression. They have greatly expanded their effort to suppress dissent abroad, particularly among the Chinese diaspora. They have a host of tools. They persuade governments to detain individuals who have been critical of China, to deport individuals back to China. They spy on those dissidents. They threaten them. They blackmail them by saying that their family members will be affected back in China, and they will execute on that threat as well. What is the State Department doing to help nations resist the pressure to detain or deport dissidents, and very importantly, to protect freedom of speech and freedom of assembly here in the United States when China is threatening Chinese diaspora?
Senator Merkley, extremely well worded and concise and exact challenge that we're facing. I would say that the most important first step that we've sought to do is actually help countries understand the nature of the problem that they're facing. So you would be surprised at how many countries, until they examine sort of the circumstances inside their own borders, were unaware of some of these challenges. Frankly, even the United States, it's taken time to fully understand what has taken place among diaspora communities, Chinese language speaking. So I think we've worked with a number of countries to help understand the nature of this transnational challenge. We've helped countries strengthen a variety of law enforcement and other steps to assist them in contesting these actions. We have been very principled and direct in our diplomacy with China. I would simply say that this is a challenge that is not just a few countries. We've seen it in Canada, we've seen it in Australia, the United States, New Zealand, Australia, other parts of Europe. Frankly, the ability to compare notes and to compare strategies about how to identify and contest it has been very important.
Yeah, thank you. Freedom House has now documented Chinese transnational repression in 36 countries.
Yeah.
So it really is spreading in an effort to shape how they are viewed around the world. Another area where China is expanding its influence is within the United Nations. They have proceeded to increase their contributions. They have increased their support for peace teams from the United Nations, peacekeepers. They have gotten more Chinese nationals into leadership positions, and they are trying to change the dialogue around human rights. In terms of the Universal Periodic Review this last January, they submitted false information about many of the actions of China in the domain of human rights. They blocked independent civil society representatives from providing information. They have suppressed the mention of political, civil, religious rights in UN resolutions and debates. And they are trying to convey the philosophy that human rights are country-specific, that is, that there is no universal human right, and basically whatever a country decides, well, that's what human rights are. We have been really a voice in the world to identify, promote the vision of fundamental human rights, but this is a contest for ideas, and Chinese influence in the UN is part of that. What's our strategy?
Yeah. Look, you've identified it exactly, and the truth is this is part of a coherent strategy of China redefining what democracy means, what human rights means, and they've done that substantially in international organizations, particularly in places like the United Nations. Their ultimate goal, I think, Senator, is to step up their game substantially in the global south. That's where they're playing for advantage. I would simply say that would be the arena. If you ask me where do we need to do much more, I'm actually quite proud and satisfied. The work will never be done, but what we've done in Europe and dominant partners in the Indo-Pacific, I think the partnership with India is robust. It's critical. It's I think probably our most or one of our most important partnerships for the 21st century. Where we really need to step up our game is the Global South, and that means on the field in these various countries with robust programming, USAID, DFC, our diplomats, but it also means, Senator, really understanding the nature of the challenge in organizations like the United Nations, in which the action increasingly is not just at the Security Council, but the General Assembly. And that's where China's manifesting a strategy exactly as you lay down. And we need to understand how important that arena is for us going forward.
Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Thank you, Senator Merkley.